Hi, I'm Eric Minick with Harness, and today we're going to talk about release management. And let's say that I'm a release manager, I'm working for an airline, and my business partners have come up with a great new idea to make money. We are going to start charging our passengers for ice, right? So we're just going to have some nice little ice cubes here. Cool. All right. That's our goal, is to start charging for ice. Now, in order to bring this business change to fruition, there's going to be a lot of code that changes, and I'm going to need to track what's changing, was it tested, was it approved. Now, traditionally, for this approval and was it tested, we're going to do that in a pretty manual way, and we're going to have to bring it to the cab, right? The Change Advisory Board. I often call this the Change Approval Board, but it is the Change Advisory Board. And if you don't know what this is a big, expensive meeting filled with senior people, very smart folks from across the organization. And what we're trying to do is bring them all the evidence that our team has been responsible adults, that we've done the testing, that we've done all of our security scans, that we have all the things that we need to have in order to do our release, and say, okay, we've done all these things. Can we please do our release, on Thursday, please? And they'll think and like, is this going to conflict with anything? I don't know. And they'll eventually say yes to us. Now, there's a couple of problems with this. One is all the evidence is that this process actually has bad outcomes because these folks don't actually really know our application in a lot of detail. It's also slow. We have to wait for these cabs to happen. It's also expensive because these are senior people and it's a big, long meeting. So it's slow and expensive and it doesn't really work that well. So if we could come up with a way to get this outcome where we validate that things have been tested and we can get things approved without a big expensive meeting that doesn't work so good, well, then we'd be in a much better place, because we do need a good audit trail that we are being responsible adults around this. So let's do that. Let's erase this cab and find a better path. All right, so we're trying to get our changes out the door so we can charge our passengers for ice. But we're trying to do it in a more DevOps-y way so that we don't have to do the big cab. But we still have to answer these questions. So let's start by tracking what's changing. And our changes are happening in source code. So let's start by thinking about our code repo, which is probably in Git. And we can track our changes as we're doing our builds in our continuous integration system, right? So every time we do our build, it should be doing change logs of what's happening in Git and doing a rolling history of what's changing in source and keeping track of that for us and tying that into our release. Now, as we're doing our builds, we're running tests. We might be deploying into our first test environment, running functional tests as well. We're running security scans. Whatever our quality gates are, we want to be validating that as much as possible. And then putting that against whatever our policies are. And you can think about that as a gate, right? And that probably maps to whatever the rules are inside of your cab. You already know what you have to do in order to release. It's inside the cab. And so you just need to translate those rules into automation. And once you've done that, then you get to deploy, right? You get to release. And now you've baked in the answers to these questions into your pipeline. That's great. We can release our changes and charge for ice, right? Well, it can be a little bit more complicated than that because this is one pipeline. And if I want to charge my passengers for something, it's probably more complicated than that because an airline is more complicated than one application, right? I'm probably going to have a web app right? I'm going to have point of sales devices. I'm going to have kiosks. I'm going to have backend services. I'm going to have so many things, right? In order to deliver a business change in a real environment, unless I've got these beautifully decoupled microservices that are backwards compatible and all the right sort of architectural brilliance that we wish we had, if I've got coupling, where a change to this will break a change to that, that's what I mean by coupling, right? Things break each other. Then I need to coordinate how these things go out the door. And when you're in that situation, that's why we tend to have release managers on the team. So I'm on this team because we have this situation. So great. Now I've got to deal with this. And we might be in a situation where if we think about this flow, maybe my web team is moving super fast, right? They're just flying through this and they're getting ready real fast. But like my kiosk team is like slow again for whatever reason. They just like can't get things done. And the backend team is somewhere in between. We've got to know where everybody is in this process at any given time because we can't release. We can't start charging anybody for ICE until everybody's ready to go. All right, so we're going to have to wait for everybody to get ready before we do this. Now, when we're ready to go and everybody's reached our policy gate and is approved and all the tests are passing and everything's great, then we're going to have to do some sort of coordination on our release because we probably need to take our back-end team. They're probably going to go before our front-end teams, right? And so there's probably some staging and some ordering. You might do that in some sort of a spreadsheet or a document to say, what are the orders? And then on a call as the release manager, as a coordinator, you might get on there and you say, okay, you go, now you go, now you go. And we might coordinate this and which pipelines are we running in what order. That's one way of doing it. Increasingly, as we're trying to smooth this out and eliminate errors in a DevOps way, we're going to put a DevOps Release Management Tool in place so that we can build a button here, right? And the idea is to wrap all of our pipelines together behind this one button so that you can just press it. All of your pipelines fire together and you get one big coordinated deployment where the backend fires first and immediately when it's done and ready, whatever's waiting for the backend fires. So exactly how you would have done it, where you say you go, then you go, that's automated now in a smooth, consistent way. And that's what you want. Do it in the exact way that you want so that your passengers now have the joy and privilege of paying you a couple dollars to get ice in their beverages. And isn't that what we all want? That's just fantastic for everybody. All right, so now we know a little bit more about release management, how it's been done traditionally with CABs, how it gets modernized with DevOps, how it can get really cool with release management tools as well. So thank you for joining us on this video. Let me know what you liked about this video, what you didn't, down in the comments. Thanks.